the whole nativity thing is, yeah, that's a bit of fun. Actually, I was going to tell you this little Christmas story just to put out there for a bit of fun, because we all know the traditional Christmas story, but there's a whole possible other interpretation that I just want to put out there for you to consider. I call it the Christmas story you never heard. Right? Now, first of all, the father, so-called, of Jesus is who? Joseph. And the most significant thing about Joseph is his family line. Who can tell me what makes him so significant?
He was related to Abraham?
Well, from the line of David, yeah. It's all started with Abraham, quite right there. But from the line of David. Right? Now, David was Israel's cleaner, street sweeper, king. Okay, so he's from a royal line. Right? This is significant because in his ancestry there's kings. Now, he himself is poor. We know that because when Jesus is born, they offer doves at the temple, and that wasn't the proper offering. The proper offering was more expensive, but the scripture says if you're not very well off and you can't afford it, well, you can use a couple of doves. So we know he wasn't well off. But where was he going? He was going back to Bethlehem, to his hometown. You know? Now, I find it hard to believe that if the family are all from Bethlehem and it's a line that was kings, that there's no one with houses and dwellings still there. It's the hometown. And we get this whole idea that they arrive in Bethlehem, his hometown, and for some reason they're wandering around looking for a motel to stay. Now, does anyone ever join the dots and think, well, you know, the reason it's Bethlehem they're going to is not because it had the greenest trees or beautiful sunsets, it was because you had to go back to the place where you are from. So if he's from a royal line and he's going back to his hometown, why are they wandering around looking for a motel? The other thing we don't quite get, because we don't understand the culture, is that an inn in a biblical context is not like a motel is to us now. A motel is somewhere you can sleep and have breakfast on your way to somewhere. An inn had a connotation of being like a sleazy, almost like a brothel. And you'd really bottomed out if you were staying at an inn. You know? But, and I hate to, go on about, in the Greek this and in the Greek that, because, we're not all Greek scholars, but the Greek can bring light to things that we don't see in English, because it's so much more of a rich language. There can be 5 words for love, and we've only got love. You read love, and you don't know whether it's talking about erotic sexuality or deep servanthood, because we've only got love. And the word inn can mean 2 things. I bet you didn't know that. It can mean, sleazy place where people stay when they've got nowhere to go, or it can mean guest room. Now, just for the sake of the story and for a bit of fun, what have we pictured so far? Joseph from the line of King David, going back to his hometown where apparently there was no homes or anything left, and they're going to a motel. All right, but consider this for the fun of it. Joseph comes back to his hometown, and he's got Mary, who looked much too much like me. Right? Mary is showing. In fact, we know she's showing because, she's nearly due. Are they married? Is this an appropriate pregnancy? So, Joseph comes back to his hometown with his pregnant girlfriend, and there is no room for them in the guest room. Get it? You can go out to the barn. You are shaming our family. We're ashamed to know you. You're here for the census, fair enough, but to the guest room with you. Because you know what's interesting? The shepherds come and they say they've seen a vision of this special baby being born. The baby's being born and the family possibly have judged them, made them go out to the barn, this illegitimate child, which we don't want to know anything about. And then, strangely, when the Magi arrive from the east, which could be quite some time later, it clearly says in Matthew that these visitors came to the house. No explanation given. How did we go from, we couldn't find anywhere at the hotel, so we had to go to a barn. If inn means guest room, there was no room in the guest room. Suddenly there's all this attention, maybe this birth's not so legitimate, and they're back in the house. There's no explanation in Scripture as to how it is that the Magi or the wise men came to a house and not a barn. That's my little take on it, that there was a bit of judgment going on, and that in the ancestral home they were told, get out, and then they were told, ooh, come in. What do you think of that one? Something to ponder for fun. Let's eat.